Mayhem here. Going to be kind of an update as to what all's going on. Going to show you a couple of things that picked up from my work. Some new tools that I got. Really cool stuff. It's kind of in line with what I do, because some people have kind of asked me, and this is more along the lines of my tools for work and what I do with them and how I use them. So I'm going to show you. But just now finished raining. Had to work a couple of extra hours today. It's kind of muggy and overcast now. At least I don't have to water. More to come, guys. Okay, guys, these are some of the tools I work with when I'm doing alignments on shafts or motor shafts, or I'm checking offsets and angularities of couplings. And I'll show you each one, and you'll be familiar with all of these because you've seen them in one form or another. This is a dial caliper. This is just like the one I've always had, the old nasty one. It's just like that one, except it's more precision and it's certified. So with this, kind of pick this up while I'm holding the camera. You can use it to measure, with this piece, you can measure inside diameters, outside diameters, and depth. This is really accurate. I use these when we're having to check the shims on the feet to make sure that the shafts align up on the motor and the whatever it's going to, a gearbox or a fan, something like that. And then this is a straight edge, and we use these in the alignments as well. And it's just really handy, and it's a good way to learn how to do this. This is a thickness gauge. This is just like a thickness gauge that we use when we're measuring overhead valves. The exact same thing, except these are well, they say they're certified, and these are bigger. Like this one is 200 thousandths, and I'll show you this in just a second. And then this one is really cool. This is a taper gauge. This is a spark plug gap, one of those discs that is on everybody's keychain at one time or another, but it's just been straightened out. And you can see why they call it a taper, because it goes down to 2 thousandths at one end, and gosh, I can't see, 150 thousandths at the thick end. So now I want to show you what we're going to do. Got this kind of set up. We have a void, a space here, and it could be just be a coupling and a coupling, a motor, and a gearbox or a fan. And you have to measure and check to make sure this is an acceptable distance, and you have your spec sheet and everything. So I'll show you more to come. Okay, and you can see the space or the void that we're trying to measure, and I'm going to take my 200 thousandths thickness gauge and go ahead and slide it down in there, and I know that's 200 thousandths. Now I'll take my taper gauge and I'll go ahead and insert it and slide it all the way down until I get to a point where it will no longer move, and that is going to be 85 thousandths. So the 285 thousandths, it's going to be 285 thousandths gap on that coupling. So it would, and then I could refer to the spec sheet, and it would tell me if it's what temperature that it's normally running at, whether or not that is an acceptable gap. For most instances it is not. Usually it's a little bit narrower or smaller than that, usually around 200 thousandths for most of the stuff that we work with is acceptable. There we go. Now more to come. Okay guys, now we're back, and so these are, like I said, some of the tools that I use. My boss gave them to me, and he said, you know, these tools are worth more than you are, and these aren't the most expensive ones that are out there. These are about average, but they're good quality. tools or measuring devices. And so it's just kind of interesting how things have progressed. It takes you a while before you can really get into learning how to do this, unless you've just gone to school for it or grown up in the trade. But it seems to be that there is a big demand for this, and any kind of place that does industrial work that requires precision measurements or precision alignments and everything, this stuff is what they really like, and they like you knowing how to do this in addition to working on the computers. So you do half the time you're in the office with your feet propped up in the air conditioning, working on the computers, typing everything in, the data that you found, and the other half you're 500 feet up in the air on top of a tower, making sure that the pump is aligned with the motor. So more to come. So I guess that's really about it for today's video. Don't worry, we're going to do a bunch more videos this weekend to kind of get you caught up, and I hope that I'm going to have some of this stuff situated. We're actually going to pull all that crap out and get this all cleaned and organized. Do a little bit more work on the gator, may do some riding as well. If it will stay nice and dry, I'll finish painting this. Man, it was fun riding that thing. I don't get to do that enough. And I am in the process of looking for some tires for this thing. I hope they'd be cheap, but they won't be. They never are. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Y'all can make some mayhem.